Welcome to Gaia's Love, a podcast of brief messages to help humanity bridge the gap to the new earth. My name is Vivienne Gerard. It is my delight to be a scribe for consciousness today, sharing the wisdom that flows through from Source. Here we go. Episode 167. It is Wednesday. Beautiful, sunny, gorgeous day here in Cincinnati. It feels like spring is opening up her flowers again. So this morning I slept in a little bit and then decided to start my routine of running. And that's what we're going to explore today is this word jogging. Running is sort of a stretch. I'm not sure that I could say I ran today. Definitely not. But I jogged. And when I was out in that jogging space, the word jogging was just playing through my mind. And so I bring forward two definitions for the word, which I looked up. So one is to maintain a steady, consistent pace while moving. And then the other definition is to nudge or knock a little bit out of place, like when you jog an idea or jog someone's memory. And so I was really playing with both of those definitions, and that's what I present for you this morning. So in the past, what I typically have done is I don't exercise a lot over winter because it's cold outside and it doesn't feel fun to go for a run when it's really chilly. And then as soon as spring arrives, I'll burst out of the door and run and then hurt myself because I push too hard and then I can't walk for a few days. And then I get into a routine, and I usually do about a half an hour each morning where I go on this little path that I follow through my neighborhood. And it's always amazing, and there's always beautiful nature blooming around me. I can watch the seasons change. I usually watch the sunrise as I'm running. I get to listen to my music. I mean, it's just such an awesome half hour. And over winter, I forget how much I love that time until I start doing it again. And so that's what I am sharing with you this morning. When I woke up and I decided to go outside, I knew it was going to be a little chillier, so I put on all my layers and then went to the closet to get my sneakers out, which were tucked away in the back because I haven't worn them in a long time. And so I put them on, and instantly, just that sitting down to put on my sneakers, I dropped right back into the patterning, I guess it would be called, or the cellular memory. You know, when you follow a set pattern over and over, there's a word for that. It's like your body automatically knows what to do because you do the routine so many times. And so you just sort of fall into it. I know there's a word, but I can't think what it is right now. But that's what happened. I was on the ground putting my sneakers on, and every cell in my body just went, oh, yes, that's right. We do this thing. How did we forget that we do this thing? And then I stretched, and when I stepped outside to start going down the driveway, there was this flush of joy that went through my body, like, yes, how did I forget I love this so much? I put my headphones in, I had my gloves on because it was a little chilly, and I pushed shuffle, which, sometimes I do that, but it's different when I shuffle for my run walk in the morning. It goes through all the songs. It's not like I pick an artist, it's every song. And I never know what I'm going to get. And so when I do my yoga, I usually just push shuffle with one artist, and I kind of stay in that vibration of the artist while I'm doing yoga. But for the run, it's open to anything that wants to come forward. And so I put my headphones in, push shuffle, I'm walking down the driveway. I mean, my whole body was like, oh yes, I forgot. We love to do this. How did we forget how much we love to do this? And then I was watching the sun just starting to come up as a light on the right side of our driveway as I'm walking. And so this time I decided I have learned from my past mistakes. I'm going to run walk. I'm not going to push myself so hard so that I can't move for a couple days, because tomorrow I have yoga with my mom, so I'm going to be gentle. And so I went at a slow pace, went down the hill and then up into the neighborhood. And it was so cool because my feet, my body knows this path. Like, I've run this path so many times, and there's this, what's the word? It's like, it's so familiar that it's really comforting. Even though I'm moving my body and stretching in a new way after several months of not doing that, it's so familiar to me that every part of my body just sighed with like gratitude and relaxation and joy that, oh, it's spring. Like now I get to go outside and do this thing that we always do. And so as I went through my jog, I'm so in the habit of calling it a run, but it was not a run today. It was a jog, walk, jog. But as I was moving through the neighborhood, I haven't traveled that path in several months. And so I was just looking at, where people have been doing some work on their houses. Some trees have been taken down, some have been trimmed. There's this beautiful weeping cherry that was starting to blossom. I took a picture of that. And then as I'm moving around, the way that I move through the neighborhood, I'm changing directions as I move up and down the streets. And so the sun is just constantly peeking out through the trees and the houses as I was running. And it was just so beautiful watching the sunrise from a different vantage point than where I have been seeing it most of the winter, from my home or from the car when I'm driving. It was so beautiful just to see it in the way that I've remembered seeing it before. It was awesome. It was so good. And the music, of course, was perfect. There were these beautiful chants that started that really allowed me to slow down my thinking, slow down any expectations, just to be in the moment with the beauty of the fresh air and the movement of my body in a new way, and the familiar sights that were a little different, and watching, all of the animals, because there's always animals that are flying around or running across the street or barking at me when I go by their house. There's just always a lot of movement, that I can pay attention to. And then there was this moment, the moment that I forgot about until I was actually in the space of this jog walk. I went around this one bend, which, is at the far end of where I go for the run, walk, jog. I can't call it a run. When I went around the curve, all of a sudden, these ideas just went boom, 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 boom. The light bulb, the awareness just became really clear. And there was this satisfaction in my body, like, oh, yes. That's right. One of the best reasons for this morning routine is it just clears the cobwebs out of my head so quickly. The movement of my body, the breathing, the listening to music, being in nature is this magical elixir for me that just opens up awareness, opens up idea generation. And how did I forget that? It's different than yoga. As much as I love yoga and I practice it almost every day, it's in my house or at a studio with the music, mostly with my eyes closed, in my body, having my experience with energy moving. The running, the walking, the jogging outside, it's eyes wide open, fully present in the physical experience of being alive on earth. And it's a whole different way to receive information. Yeah, it's hard to put it to words, but it was so beautiful. It was just like, oh yes, that's right. That's why I do this. I mean, in addition to it's good for my body, that's why I do this. I love the awareness that I experience when I have that magical elixir. And then it was just fun. The songs right after that, the song that came on was Believer by American Authors, which is so good. All about I'm a believer and things are always getting better. I was like, yes, yes, that. It was so cool. It was so much fun. And then, I was just listening to my body better than I ever have before, and, jogging for a little while and then walking when I could feel my muscles were stretched, and jog walk. And then coming back home, I could see our house from a different vantage point because the trees don't have their leaves yet. And so you can actually see our house as I'm coming down the road and towards our little private lane. And it was just so fun to see it from another vantage point and look at it. I know how it looks when I drive up the driveway, but it was just cool to see it from where I was coming towards home. And so that is one of the awarenesses that I bring into this episode of our podcast. It's when we are nudged, like when we go jogging, when something jogs us and we are nudged out of our routine that we've been in for a little while, or our familiar path, and we step into another path. We see things differently. We have a different perspective, and that perspective enhances the way that we see our lives. I don't believe it takes away from it. It adds more. And so nudging ourselves out of what feels comfortable is actually usually a very good thing. And I can always go back and stop running and not have that experience again if I don't like it. But stepping out the front door and opening that that breath, it was just fun. It was so fun, and my body doesn't hurt, so it's good. It's really good. I'm going to share one of the pictures of the sun rising for the podcast today, and you can just see how beautiful it is to be in this neighborhood and energetically move through this grid or pattern that I create when I go through there each morning. So spring is here. It is time to start jogging. So fun. Thank you for tuning into this vibration of pure love. I invite you to join me in aligning with the optimal health of your mind, body, spirit in the virtual community of Viv's Energy Gym. You can learn more at mysouljourney.com. Let's take this message of Gaia's love out into all of our relationships and communities today. So much love from my heart to yours.